So you say when you turn on your hot water, you have a rotten egg smell? You swapped out your anode rod, maybe even watched my video showing you how to do it. You've drained your tank and watched as bits of sediment came out the hose, but still your water smells bad? Well, don't despair. Let's vacuum that tank, and yes, I said vacuum. First things first, turn off the power to your electric hot water heater. Then shut off the cold water supply like this. Hook up your water hose to the heater spigot and run the other end to a safe place where scalding water won't hurt plants, pets, or humans. Turn on the hot water in one of your sinks and let the tank drain dry. For me, this took 45 minutes. I manufactured a suction tube and adapter by starting with some 3/4 inch tubing measured out to 18 inches and cut. The end of the tube was cut at an angle to allow the tip to lay flat on the tank bottom. I removed the stock end of the vacuum hose and traced around it onto cardboard, then cut out the circle with an X-Acto knife. I then traced around the outside of the flat end of the tube and cut around that. Now the cardboard adapter can be pushed onto the flat end of the tube. The stock adapter from the vacuum hose is held in place with duct tape. Notice that I'm leaving some overhang so that the tape can be wrapped around the end of the tube to hold the cardboard cutout in place. Use as much tape as necessary. The homemade assembly is inserted into the vacuum hose and we are ready to go with that part. But first, the bottom heater element must be removed, starting with this outer cover, then the styrofoam insert. While wearing my gloves, this inner safety cover is removed to gain access to the bottom heating element and wiring. I want to make sure there's no current at the lower element, but first I want to test that my meter is in good working order using a standard outlet. Here at the bottom element, I touch one lead to the red wire and one to the black. Since I got no reading, it must be safe, right? Well, maybe not. I'm going to test the connection at the upper element. Why? Because power does not get routed to the bottom element unless more hot water is called for. The electrical connection comes straight into the upper element, and I can trust that if the upper element has no reading, I'm safe to continue. Oops, I get a reading when I measure across both sides of the thermostat. Not safe. In my case, I must remove a jumper to cut power to the heater. In your case, you may have to flip a breaker. I retest afterwards. I can test here across the thermostat or measure the red and black wires at the top screws. Now I'm showing no current, so it's safe to proceed. Back at the bottom element, loosen the screws on either side. Typically you don't have to totally remove these in order to disconnect the wires underneath. Even though I know there is no electricity present, I'm treating these wires as though they were still energized by removing them with my insulated needle-nosed pliers. Grab your socket and breaker bar and loosen the element counterclockwise. While removing the element, perform a visual to ensure it looks uniform with no sections that appear burned, which may require replacement. The wet-dry vac is powered on and the process begins. Make sure to reach inside the element opening to the left and right and into corners as far as you can. When your vacuum indicates it is full, do whatever is necessary for your particular model in order to dump the contents. This is how I have to dump mine. Initially, I want to draw your attention to this gray, smelly water. Absolutely awful. But ultimately, just look at the amount of foul sediment at the bottom. Rest assured I'm not stopping now, not as long as subsequent dumps show up like this. Check out the black water that comes through the tube. In addition, there are chunks of sediment big enough to plug the tip, like this. The sediment can be stirred up by occasionally giving it a quick shot of cold water. This also makes the vacuuming easier by liquefying the tank contents. The vacuum is dumped and round 3 begins. The results are not any better. However, we continue to remove the sediment, and that's a good thing. Round 4 begins, and the results are getting more promising with clear water showing up. I ended up vacuuming 5 times before I felt I got all the sediment I could. When it's time to reinstall the lower heating element, make sure your gasket didn't come off during removal. Once hand tightened, reapply your 1.5" socket and finish up. But don't over torque this thing into place. Heavy torque is not necessary because of the gasket. Although it's irrelevant onto which screw these wires fit, I relocated the left wire around the top of the left screw and tightened. The bulk of the wire is pressed backwards as to be out of the way of the styrofoam insert. The right-hand black wire is inserted above the other screw and tightened into place. And once again, the excess is pressed around to the side out of the way. Although there is still no electricity flowing into the hot water heater, if your meter allows, you can test the element's continuity. Needle movement here means the element is okay, meaning not burned out. The safety cover is reapplied, along with the styrofoam cover, and the metal cover goes on last. At this point, the cold water ball valve is turned on to begin filling the tank. Remember that you have a hot water faucet open somewhere. The water there will begin to spit and sputter, but let it run for 3 minutes to avoid damaging the elements from applying electricity to a dry tank. If you exposed the top element and wiring, replace the safety cover, styrofoam, and outer cover. And now you're ready to reapply power to the hot water heater. Note that this work was performed on a 40-gallon A.O. Smith brand electric water heater. Your water heater details may vary. I couldn't be happier with the results, even a week later, and the smile tells the story. I'll keep the tube and adapter around for future maintenance, and this project is complete.